see, actually, the heading of this event is the crucial role of data privacy in the digital era. Now, coming into data privacy, let us discuss privacy. What is actually privacy? It will be the session will be somehow it will be interactive. So anybody wants to ask me any questions can raise their hand. So at the end of the session, we can take all the questions whichever we'll be having. So let us start from the privacy part. What is actually privacy? In common days, common people says, "Do not breach into my privacy. Do not peep into my privacy." So mainly, we can say that the information which we have, doesn't want to share this information to anyone else. It's called as privacy. Privacy is something which is a classic. From the day the humankind is there, everyone is having their own privacy. So, privacy is something which is otherwise calculated as a human rights. So, here we are talking about data privacy. Now, many people will ask, like, what is the difference between privacy and secrecy? I can give you a simple example. Five friends have gone to a marriage party without an invitation. You might have seen all these things in the movies. So, five friends have gone down to a marriage party without invitation, and all five friends decided that we are not going to disclose this issue to anyone else. That we five people have gone down to a marriage party without invitation, and we are not going to share it to anyone. Now, keeping this information private within a group is called a secrecy because five people, a group of people, are maintaining something, maintaining an information which they want to keep it secret. But when an individual has gone down to an event where he don't want to reveal to anyone that I'm not going down to tell anybody that I have gone down to that event. So it becomes a private kind of thing. So when it is a private kind of thing of an individual, it is moreover called as a privacy. Moreover, I can give you some examples and definitions. The right of individual to have control over the collecting, storage. So going into depth now, why privacy and why data privacy? Why it is essential to have data privacy? It's a common kind of thing whenever we are going to a petrol pump or a movie theater or any uh, malls for shopping and all. So many people comes to you and ask like, sir, we have a program going on. So if you just give us some information, we can keep this information and we can have a lottery. At the end of the day, you might be an lucky winner of that lottery. Now, mean, I can bet that out of 100, a few people will ask that what are you going to use, what are you going to do to my personal data? Whether you are taking my telephone number, whether you are taking my email address, what are you going to do? I perhaps say that uh, 1 or 2% people will ask this question, but 98 or 95% people always says yes, I can give it. Now, whenever you are giving your personal data to someone, you don't know what is going to happen to your data. Is it going to be used for any perfect purpose or for any negative purpose? I'll give you an example. If you know someone whose civil score is not very good, who has applied for the banking loans and due to his civil score, is not getting any bank loans, you'll find that that particular person who has applied for the bank loan, whose civil is not that very good, lots of non-financial banking corporation used to call them from their side and ask them like, do you want to have a loan with a higher per interest rate or any kind of thing? So this happens when we give our personal data without any kind of conditions, without knowing what purpose actually our personal data is getting used. So it can be profiled. It can be used for many other purposes. So that this is the only reason for which data privacy is much more essential. You should know that why I'm giving my data, what is the use of my data, how long the person is going to use my data, and what is the purpose, and to whom he is going to share my data. This is much more essential. A small example I'm giving you. I'm not naming any restaurants or any chains. Let us say an XYZ is an restaurant where you are going and you are having your food. Now, while having your food, they used to ask you like, "Sir, can I have your telephone number so that I can send you some offers, or I can send you some information about my restaurants, and whenever I'm getting any kind of good uh, new food is introduced, so I can let you understand." You gave your telephone number along with your mail ID to send them the newsletters or something, and eventually you paid the entire bill on the credit card. Now, second time, whenever you go there, you just have to tell your numbers, your name, and your telephone number, email address, everything is there. Now, the thing is that second time, whenever you goes there, you also pay the same amount with your card, and you order some food which you have repeated. See, in this two visit of yours to that restaurant, the restaurant actually understood that you are a card payee. You pay your bill from the card. The restaurant owner understands that yes, this person loves to eat non-vegetarian. He loves to take chicken, and his paying capacity is this much. He loves to order this thing. Now, in this particular way, the person who has given his personal data, he has been profiled. The restaurant can create a profile of him, and he gives him an offer, and you know he can sell your data to anyone else. I'm just giving you an example. It might have happened to you, or it might not have, but it is happening in this current era. Because now each and everything, whatever you are doing, everything is going into uh, your personal data is getting involved in each and every place. Now, coming into the data privacy part, why data privacy? What is actually data privacy is? If you go to the bookish definition, it is they are like the right of individuals to have control over the collection, storage, and use of their personal information. Like if I am giving my data to someone, if I am giving my email address, if I am giving my telephone number, if I am giving my email address, or if I am giving my Aadhaar number to someone, I should know why I'm being given to why I'm giving that, and what is the purpose of my data to be collected. I think the number of people which are there in this meeting, the event, nobody actually asked like why am I giving this data to someone? So this is a very crucial question that what is my data is going to be what is the use of my data? Why this person is taking my data and what is his use? Now, what data privacy says? Data privacy says when somebody is collecting, storing, or recording or processing your data, he should at least say you why he is taking your data. The importance is your personal data is very important to you. I'll give you another example. We all have faced the COVID situation. Each and every person from India has faced the COVID situation. Now, in COVID period, we had given our Aadhaar number and our telephone number. We have registered somewhere, and the slots have been booked, and we have been vaccinated by the slot. And accordingly, we got a certificate where we have shown in the places wherever it is required. Whenever I'm traveling on a flight or I'm traveling on train, I have to show a certificate that yes, my this is my certificate and I have been vaccinated. Now go beyond the challenges, go beyond this particular part. The purpose and means was just to make you vaccinated. Do we know, is my personal data, my Aadhaar number, my telephone number, is not been shared with anyone else? If it has been shared to anyone else, my Aadhaar number contains my biometric, my fingerprint, my iris, my everyday information, my all my sensitive data, my health, personal health information. You can say protected health information. I don't think it has been misused, but if at all, any day, it gets misused by anyone, what next? All our digital assets will get open to the person who will start misusing it. This is why data privacy is much more essential. The protection of personal data is much more essential. Mukesh Singh says the increasing resilience on digital technologies has heightened the need for robust data privacy measures. Now, I'm giving you another example, a small example, which you might take it in a very small manner, but if you think about it, you might not sleep in the night tonight. Suppose, Supposingly, the richest person of India, whoever, I'm not going to name that, uh, whoever will be the richest person of India, suddenly he got to know that his son or daughter's kidney has been damaged and he needs a replacement. Now, in a country like us, where 130 or 140 crore people are there, uh, many people are in the queue to get a kidney. So it comes in a random way that it's a procedure. By the serial, somebody will get that kidney. Now, suddenly, all my protected health informations are there inside a portal where I've given uh, my personal information for COVID vaccination. It is not that the rich person is going to get out his son or daughter's kidney out of his body to match somebody else's kidney. What he'll do, he will match it with a blood sample of any random person. Don't you think in a country like us, anybody can collect an protected health information or a blood sample report of an individual whose blood sample is actually matching with the blood sample of the patient? If he matches over there, he can make any kind of crime and he can get the kidney done. So our personal data protection is much more important when it comes to the protected health information, when it comes to the uh, personal identifiable information. Coming down to the personal identifiable information. Let me give you a small brief example of that. I have to find out someone whose name is Davis, and if I randomly go on asking on a social platform that I'm searching for Davis, I might get thousands of Davis. But when I'll start searching for Davis Matthew, again my search list will degrade. Uh, I will get at least 500 or 300 number of people. Now, if I start searching Davis with his passport number, I will find the individual Davis whose passport number is actually matching with the person whose name is Davis. So to find out someone, to find out and identify a person by any digital information, we take the digital information as a personal identifiable information, PII. Now, here the data privacy always says the protection of PIIs or PHIs, personal health, protected health information. It is utmost essential for each individual of a country or a citizen or any human to have his personal information in a risk. in a protected format. Now, as we go on in each and every day's work, from the morning till the evening, every time, uh, whether he is a student, he is a professional, he's a housewife, or she's a housewife, or she's a working lady, anyone. If you take morning 6 to night 12 in a day, we are actually giving our personal data at least 10 times in a day. You can say 300 times in a month, and you can calculate how many times we are giving. And we are actually not asking why somebody is taking my personal data. This is a big question to be understand. If I have told you certain examples of the risk, you can understand how risky the personal identifiable information is. Let us take another example. India's greatest threat in defense or anything is China. China is much more advanced than us in technology. Let us think about a second. If China will have a control over the portal or over the database where all the Aadhaar numbers are stored, if he gets an access to that particular thing, he can access to each and every individual's bank account number. He doesn't need to put a missile on us. He just has to put a single cyber attack on the citizens of India, where all of our bank accounts will get hacked. If we will not make it protected. So, in this the growing digital era, we are running in a very big digital revolution. Everywhere, data, and all. People are saying that data is the next oil. Like the Middle East was nothing before oil was invented, and Middle East is now the richest place when oil has been discovered, and we are dependent upon oil. And you can see that in the 24 hours timing, we actually dependent upon our data, means, dealing with the data. You can say in 24 hours, if you are sleeping 8 hours, rest 16 hours, you can understand that at least 5 to 6 hours every day we are working with data. Maybe our personal data, with somebody's data, or we are giving data to someone else. So understanding this fact, people in early 80s, when the computer was introduced and network was introduced, people understood that the growing data transmission, whatever will be there has to be a control on that. To putting this control, they thought of to design some regulations, some acts, some laws by which the data can be protected. Now, this regulations, protections, and all, these are called as data protection regulations. In this process, European Union, EU became the first. Europe became the first continent to introduce the first digital personal data protection act or regulation, which is called as GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations. In 2016, they proposed a regulation. Now, understand the difference. Previously, we were having some standards to maintain data, like ISO standards, but we were not having any laws. We were not having any fines. European Union were the first people, those who understood the need of that hour. They thought, like, if you have got a bike which is having a speed of 400 or 200 kilometers, you got a free road where no cops are there, no penalties are there, no signboards of speed limits are there. If you have got a bike whose speed could increase to 200 kilometers per hour, anybody who is driving on that road, he doesn't have a fear. He rides at 160, 170 per kilometer per hour. But the same person, if he has 200 kilometer per hour speed, but in the road, cops are there, and there is a very small thing where written that you cannot exceed beyond 100 kilometer per hour. Here, people used to get one kind of conscience that yes, somebody is watching me, somebody is eyeing on me, so I should make it in this way that I will be not exceeding the limits of 100 kilometer per hour. Now, here comes the General Data Protection Regulation, where first time European Union introduced a law. It's a law which has been imposed with the entire European Union, all the Union member states in Europe, and they decided certain factors which needs to be governed. The first, they introduced this bill in 2016, and on 2018 they made it enforced. They told that yes, it has to come on effect on 25th May of 2018. What are the key principles of that regulation? The regulation says that you have to maintain the data subject, means the individual person who has given his data, he is called in the regulation as a data subject. You have to maintain the data subject rights. What are those rights? The data subject rights, accountability, transparency, and strict requirements for the collection and processing of personal data. They made 99 articles. On those articles, they made their own data privacy board, their data privacy supervising authorities, data privacy law, how to enforce that. They were the first lawmaker who introduced a data protection officer is mandatory to be appointed in a company who is actually processing, collecting, or storing the personal data. What became the global influence? The global influence, like if a company is in European Union and the backend is in India. Now, the data which is coming out from European Union and getting processed by any big four companies in India, they also became compliant to GDPR. Now, here also, whenever they are storing the data, processing the data, or doing any kind of work with that data, they have to be compliant with GDPR. Now, GDPR says if you are not getting compliant by the regulations to protect the personal data, there is a fine. The fine is either 10 million euros or 2% of the global annual revenue. You can understand. Global annual revenue, whichever is higher. If the revenue is less than 10 million euros, then the company will be penalized with 10 million euros. If the amount goes more than 10 million euros, whatever the 2% of that global annual revenue, 12 months, whatever the revenue, annual revenue they are getting, they'll have to pay 2% of the tax on that particular stuff. The second penalty will be 4% or 20 million euros, whichever is higher. So you can understand what is the legal highest amount of penalties which have been imposed in European Union. So the data protection became a very handy thing for GDPR. Compliances, as they have made a regulation that every company who will be having processing, collecting, recording the data, they have to appoint a DPO, data protection officer. So it became a mandate. So to save my 20 million euros or 4%, I have to appoint someone who is a data protection officer. What became the global influence? I told you the enforcement, the compliances, challenges, penalties. Now, significant penalties. I'm giving you one example. Have you heard about Cambridge Analytica thing? Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, or Meta issue. Anybody is having any knowledge of that? Well, I'm explaining it. I'm briefing it. I cannot explain it in a very short time, so I'm just briefing it. Facebook had given some data to Cambridge Analytica, which is another company who was actually managing the campaign, the political campaign in American elections. They used certain personal data of Facebook to analyze the personal data, and they started making profiling of the American citizens. And although they scrutinized certain American citizens and they profiled their Facebook accounts, and they told certain messages which were favorable for some political party, and eventually the political party got some mileage, whether they won or lost, that was not the matter, but got the mileage. Later on, it has been gone down to judiciary. So judiciary decided no, it is not a proper channel. You have done a mistake. You have violated the regulation of data privacy. A hefty amount of penalty was been imposed on Meta or Facebook. You can go down to Google and you can search it out. You can find out what were the amount of penalties were there. So yes, the penalties are coming down in European Union, in America, in Australia, in Canada. They all have their data protection regulations. So looking into the fines and compliances part, always people think no, we should be compliant and we should respect to the human rights, or we give respect to the data subjects. Personal information could be. We should not do any kind of breach with that data. Moving on, certain regulations, those who are actually upcoming now. There are certain laws are there, like GDPR, CCPA in America, California Consumer Protection Act. In 2023, in India, there was a bill has been passed, which is DPDP, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. It will be the indigenous and it will be the original and the only law of data privacy to govern the data privacy in a country like India. Now, why? I should tell you why it is much more important in India. People have, you all have got Aadhaar card, right? In 2009, the former Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, decided that yes, whatever the advantages of welfare things are going down to the people of India. Actually, we do not have any infrastructure to understand, to identify who is actually the beneficiary. So, to identify the beneficiary in 2009, taking Mr. Nandan Nilekani, the former co-founder of Infosys, giving him a cabinet ministerial post, decided to start to create Aadhaar, which is the first DPI, the Digital Public Infrastructure of India. Later on, thanks to the next government, they also kept the Aadhaar into priority. And later on, we started working upon Aadhaar's, we started gaining the Aadhaar's benefit. The biggest benefit which Aadhaar has given us is the COVID vaccination. But the challenge in India, I say 94% of cyber crimes are cyber incidents. They are not crimes. They have been done with the ignorance. Somebody is calling you and telling you that you need to give a click upon pay link to get the amount in your account, to get credited the amount into your account. And in our ignorance, in PhonePe or in Google Pay or in Paytm, we are paying them unknowingly. But how this is happening? Because we are giving our personal data without understanding what is the purpose of that. So that DPI which has been created for a betterment, the digital public infrastructure which has been created for a betterment thing, lack of protection we came down to a place where we are actually facing lots of problems. What now Digital Personal Data Protection Act is going to do? Digital Personal Data Protection Act is just like an act in GDP, like a regulation in GDPR. It is putting controls or brakes on the entire data flow. Now, here also, if we will be giving any kind of data to anyone, any company, any organization, anybody who is taking your data, he has to tell you before collecting your data why he is taking the data, what he is going to do with your data, what is the purpose of your data being taken, to whom he is disclosing the data. Are we send your data to any other country or not? If any other country, whichever the country we are transferring the data, we have to tell the data subject that yes, I am transferring the data to this particular person and for this particular reason. And the most important thing, how long are you going to keep my data with you? So these are certain rights which is coming up within DPDP Act. In Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they have PDPL, Personal Data Protection Law. They have an act like that, PDPL, Personal Data Protection Law. In America, we have HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability Applicability Act. It governs the entire protected health information which is related to your health records. CCPA. Now CCPA has been changed to CPRA, but CCPA was a former thing, California Consumer Protection Act. In this particular act, again the same thing. Why you are asking my data? For which reason you are taking my data? What are you going to do with my data? Are you going to disclose it to anyone else? So everything has to be intimated to the person, the data subject itself. So this act, DPDP Act, is lightning thing. It is going to help all Indian citizens for not getting the misuse. That there will be very less misuse of your personal data. What are the upcoming things? Now, why data privacy is essential? Building trust with stakeholders. If I'm a consumer, if I've been told that yes, I'm giving my data to order my food, so I understand. Yes, I have given my data to order some food which will get delivered to my doorstep. So and I know that the data which I have given to X company for delivering my food, he is not going to share this data with anyone else. And if he is sharing, I forgot to say you, if he is sharing in DPDP Act, the highest penalty is 250 crores, 250 crores, 250 crores. You can understand how hefty amount of penalties are going to be with a person who will be infringing with the data. Second part, legal and ethical consideration. Now, every individual of India or globally, wherever the Data Privacy Act is there, they have got their own rights to ask if any misuse has happened to my data. I can ask them yes, and I can go down to judiciary to ask them why my data has been infringed. It was not there previously, but when the act will be enacted in India, it's going to you are going to ask by the thing. And in industry, if I am compliant to these certain regulations, like if you open PhonePe app, whenever you open PhonePe app, it will say that PhonePe is compliant to PCI DSS. It's a standard. It's a payment card industry standard. So when PhonePe says that I am PCI DSS certified, that means my standards. I am a standardizing company. I follow certain regulations. People will have trust upon that app or organization or the industry. So it gives an industrial valuation to this particular industrial value addition to the organizations. As I told you before, compliance are complex, bit complex, cross-border transfers. Whenever our data will be transferred to anyone else, any other country, that will also be notified. Every information will be in our fingertip. Privacy, I'll give you some more example of in-depth privacy, what are going to come in current dates. AI and privacy. Every Indian have got an experience of deepfake. Now, government is also thinking about deepfake. AI is something which is, recently many in Facebook, on many reels, many people have come down making lots of fun of other people. It's actually breaching of privacy of someone. If somebody will make your face little bit of tarnish with certain other music, and he'll start making you uh, abused publicly. A person's human dignity or human rights is you used to get tarnished. So AI, it's going to come out very shortly. A regulation has been set out in European Union. Regulation has been started in America. Lots of other countries are also coming up with the regulation, and India is also coming out with this regulations even. There will be another regulation which will be added to AI privacy, artificial intelligence privacy. What will be the limit of use of artificial intelligence? Do we allow to use artificial intelligence in a super power? We need to govern the artificial intelligence, extensions and all. What are being regulated? What should be regulated? All these things will be coming. Now, privacy. Uh, as I told you, every day, every moment, our data is getting exposed to the industry. My career page in India, yes, a big career phase is coming in data protection and data privacy, because there will be lots of privacy professionals will be required. Because if you think and if you look out in your purview, whatever you can see in your eyes, wherever the billing is in digital format, wherever the uh, data is being collected digitally or manually, again it has been digitized. Everywhere there has to be a concerned manager, what the DPDP Act is saying. So, whether you go to a beauty parlor who is actually giving you e-bills, he will be coming down under the DPDP Act. And apart from that, to maintain standards for the data security and all, there will be a huge requirement of data auditors. So India is upcoming with a new regulations, and globally this regulations is also new. So future ahead, a big future is coming up ahead. So this is all from myself.
Thank you, Pradosh, for explaining things in a very easy way. As you rightly said, data privacy's importance is coming up, and there will be lot of career opportunities, requirement for DPOs and data privacy auditors, and all these things in our IT industry, in our business industry, not only IT. Every business which deals with personally identifiable information will need to have a data privacy officer, and they will have to do data privacy audits and all going forward. So this is one area which will definitely come up for careers for all of us, and thanks for explaining all these things.